Welcome everybody to the Flopbuster Movie Show live with Tony and Gabe, and this is a very special episode. Not really, we don't plan these anymore. We just say and do whatever we want. But we are going back to that. We have a very special guest coming at the end of the month that we're working out. That some of you will know. He's really really cool, and we're excited.
Let's not drop the name right now.
No, I'm not dropping the name. We know he's coming. We're getting some dates lined up, so we're gonna make that work. Gabe, how you doing today?
Good, guys. Hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Hope you guys got a chance to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I know that's one of the issues we want to talk about besides fear. I'm excited to get tonight's show going.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about, up until I want to say like yesterday, we didn't know what we were gonna do. I feel like
we never know. We never know until like the day before. Like all week would be like, "What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?" And all week would be like, "I don't know. What do you want to talk about? Oh, I don't know." Like then we'd be like, "Oh, do you want to have somebody on the show?" And be like, "I don't know. Do you want to have somebody on the show?" And then you'd be like, "I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to somebody." And I let you do the reaching out because you're younger than I am, and you're I want to say you're like more, I don't know, friendlier, I guess. I don't know.
You have a friendly face.
You're younger. You have
the fresh cut and everything going on. Like,
listen, I know what I am. I am a big brown fucking Mexican that looks like scary. Like for example, right? Not that I do this, right? But let's say if I wanted to reach out to somebody who's out there, right, girl wise or whatever. Like I look weird messaging somebody who's younger than me at my age and be like, "Yo, hey, I got a show. You want to come on our show?" Like,
you want to come on and we could talk about some we could talk about Transformers. Like, I guess so.
Right. It looks weird. It looks weird. You're younger, you got a girlfriend that's that's out there on on Twitter and everywhere. Like everybody knows Victoria, right? And so like it's easier for you guys to like try to get people on our show than me, some just weird guy, but like, "Hey, I got a show. Do you want to come on our show?"
You know what's funny? I mainly just use Victoria to do all that for me anyway, though. Like I just let her go ahead and do the. I was like, "Oh, can you go ahead and message this person?" It comes off like they'll be more inclined to say yes to her. By the way, I want to reference the chat. I see Connor in there. What's up, man? Watched the Spider-Man 3 episode. Actually, not watched. I listened to it on the car ride to work. Everybody should check that one out. It's great. You and Gabe brought up some perfect talking points.
We did bring up some great talking points.
And then see the American Pie episode with Gabe, and Connor. All right. Hi, how you doing, man? Brett, what's up, Brett? Bernie, you saw Guardians. Guardians 3 was awesome and definitely teared up at a certain point.
We told you, Bernie. We told you last week.
We told you. The legendary Peter Quill. That's a good comic book run. That's a fun one if anybody hasn't read that. Hey, guys, love Fear. Watching Guardians tonight. What makes Fear scary is how real the situation is. Oh, yeah, we're going to get to Fear. I think there's a lot of people that are fans. This is like a cult. I mean, we put it in the title. Is it a cult classic? I feel like we'll get to Fear because I feel like we have less to say. It's a very entertaining movie. That movie is very like, what? Like, I have thoughts on it. It's very fun. It's. I haven't seen that movie in like 10 years. So I was up and I was like, I want to watch it. Because originally we were going to do, I feel like Miami Vice, which I feel like at some point we're going to talk about in terms of like Flopbuster redemption type movies, because I had you rewatch it. I rewatched Miami Vice. I feel like at some point we'll talk about it. I know John, my friend John from the Marvel podcast, he wants to come on and talk about that. But I rewatched Fear about, I want to say 3 nights ago, and I was like, "Hey, you should rewatch. If you haven't seen Fear, you should watch it." And you had never seen it, which was a shock to me.
No, I mean it's a shock to myself as well, but I don't know. I do want to get into, before we start getting into Fear, there's something I want to bring up, Guardians related, only because I feel like I want to talk about their box office, right? Because it's coming close to it. It did like 300 million opening weekend, close to that worldwide. It's over 120 stateside, but yeah, it depends on which publication you read. Some say it's a flop, and the other ones are saying it's a success. So I want to ask you, Tony, based on the box office results, what do you think about Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Is it a hit or is it a flop?
I feel like, and this is, I wanted to get into this, so I'm happy you brought this up because I mentioned a little bit at the beginning, and I think me and you have texted like, well, it's clearly successful. Like it's made money. It's at like depending on which site you're up on, it's somewhere between 114 and 116 million stateside opening weekend, which is good. It's better than the first one. The first one opened at 95 million.
Right.
Not as good as the second one. Volume 2 opened to 150 million, which is kind of crazy and big. It goes on to gross like 900 million at the box office. I don't know where Marvel stands with the audience right now, and I just like I'm very confused about it.
Well, the cinema score that they're getting for people coming outside the theaters, it's getting an A.
It's getting an A, which is that's a perfect cinema score. Like that's like most comic book movies, you should be around an A. Most general audiences are very forgiving and they just want to have fun. And so like movies like Mario or John Wick, these movies should get an A cinema score.
Right. So I think for myself, I think I want to say that they're huge numbers based upon what people would consider superhero fatigue, right? You and I have talked about it ad nauseum here on our show. And yes, you and I have talked about we're both in with superhero fatigue. But I think that if Marvel keeps on going forward and they try to do what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is going to be difficult, right? Because no James Gunn. But if like moving forward, we've talked about this. If they continue their setup like this, I think that we could get out of superhero fatigue.
I think it's more so the Marvel fatigue too, right? Because let's look at the numbers. Something happened. Everybody's saying COVID. Spider-Man opened to big numbers. Multiverse and Madness opened to big numbers, and then a huge drop off. These movies are having I mean, they always have big drop offs.
Right, second weekend,
front loaded.
Right.
I feel like Guardians 3 should have opened a bit more than what it was, and it's not the movie's fault. The movie's amazing. It's fun. James Gunn totally brings it. I feel like it's more so that Marvel fatigue. It is so many shows. It is so many movies. Ant-Man didn't sit well with a lot of people. You know, I know there's a ton of people that really dug Ant-Man 3, but for the most part, we can call Ant-Man 3 a disappointment. It did not make the money it was supposed to make at the box office. It's supposed to be a pivotal movie in the MCU canon, right? Like, this is a big event. Like they pitched it as that. Quantumania, Kang. This is the first one where Kang's the full-on villain. It's going to be this big thing you have to see. It's crucial. It made $400 million, which I guess is fine for an Ant-Man movie. But for the kind of movie they were selling and pitching, those are not good numbers. And I think that paired with Thor, Love and Thunder, and even, I guess, Multiverse of Madness to an extent, I think there's a lot of people that are weary about going to see these movies opening weekend. And you pair that with none of these movies are screaming, what happens in the Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, like Phase 1 or 2, which it was like, with Phase 1 and 2, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait for the Avengers. I can't wait for Age of Ultron. Because it felt like there was something there. There was something that the audience was attached to that they were excited for. Civil War, Infinity War, any of those things, people are excited. And I feel like right now the audiences don't know where they stand. And I think that's the issue. And I think Guardians 3 is kind of becoming a victim of that in a way, where it's a fantastic movie. It opened pretty good, but I feel like it should have opened a little better, but it was dealt a bad hand. It came out at the start of Phase 5 when we've had a bunch of movies in a row that audiences are just kind of not feeling right now.
Exactly. I feel like at this point in time, Marvel needs to scale back their universe building for whatever phases are coming out. Like I don't need Disney Plus, and I love, even though as much as I loved WandaVision and Loki, I think people are tired of having to watch the TV shows and movies all to get some sort of continuity. And what's perfect to me for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is that it's like those comic books that come out, right? It's just one single issue, like a one-shot story.
Right. It's like a one-shot or a graphic novel. It's very self-contained.
And I think for Marvel, like if I don't know, maybe I may be wrong, right? But if fucking Kevin Feige came up to me like, Gabe, like, what do you think I should do next? I'd be like, you know what? Why don't you do self-contained stories going forward? And you could go back to the old style that you did at MCU in the first phase. Try to interconnect everything through after credits. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
But you
Have
know
your
what? You bring up a good point because all those movies feel different, right? Like the first Avenger feels like Joe Johnston made the first Avenger, and that feels like a 1940s Indiana Jones, The Rocketeer kind of movie. Kind of has a little bit of Spielberg in there, and it's very whimsical and romantic. And what is the first Thor movie? It's this very simple story about a man who needs to learn how to essentially grow up in order to get his powers back, learn to become not just this
Black
badass,
Crow.
but a real hero, right? Like he has to learn to be a human. And it's directed by Kenneth Brown. Like you look at those movies, Kenneth Branagh makes Thor, Jon Favreau makes Iron Man,
Right.
Joe Johnston makes the first Avenger, Joss Whedon does the Avengers. They are very simple, and I think we've done too much at this point that like we have to go back to basics. And real quick, I'm going to reference Brett. You brought up High Evolutionary. I agree. I said that last week.
You did.
High Evolutionary was an incredible villain. He is despicable. I wanted to punch him in the face so many times. That actor is incredible. They got a real Shakespearean actor, a guy that was a part of the actual Shakespeare theater.
Was
to
he
play
from like
that
the
role.
1500s?
Well, like I guess like the traveling crew or whatever it is, these guys that do Shakespeare. He did Shakespeare, and I think he brought that level to like the High Evolutionary. Is that it feels like that? It feels very It was just a great villain, man. Like he did a great job. He was great on Peacemaker as well, but he was incredible.
And listen, like, and it's been mentioned a lot in the chat, right? And everybody, like, if you watch the show, right, you know that I do not like King as a movie baddie. Like, he is no level as Thanos was. Yeah, High Evolutionary. Like, if that was going to be like their end game, maybe I could get behind that. You know what I'm saying?
Bernie says High Evolutionary was loud. He did scream a lot.
He did.
Connor says, just like with anything, you can't just throw, just like with anything, you can't just throw everything out there all the time. It exhausts people. You can't stay at this amount of content. Marvel has to scale back. And you bring up a good point. Marvel, Star Wars, I would say DC to an extent. If you have so much, I felt the fatigue. I love Star Wars, but there's a moment where I'm like, oh, that's on already? Or this is like, I have to watch this. And it's just like, okay. It just feels like too much at once.
You know what else Marvel could do? And I know they're coming, but tease us the fucking X-Men. Tease us Fantastic Four. Like, if you gave
But
me,
I like your idea of let's keep it simple, let's keep it self-contained, and then in the after credits. But here's the thing: I don't even want Blade to be. I know they reference Blade in the Eternals. I want Blade to be its own thing. I hope to God Blade is like pushing the boundaries, a horror action tale that isn't connected to any of this. By the time Mahershala Ali shoots that movie, he's going to be like 54. You know, at that point, it's like that's how old Wesley was in his last appearance as Blade. Like, how many movies are you going to get out of that guy?
I'm so mad about. I mean, the writers.
But they announced him in like 20, like pre-pandemic. They announced
pre-pandemic, and now like we're what, like 5 or it's like 5 years later. We're still waiting on.
We're still waiting. Yeah, it's I don't know, but I think a lot of fans and I think a lot of audiences are willing to see great movies. They just don't want to be burned anymore. I think that's why they're seeing Mario, they're seeing John Wick, even Creed. Creed hit big and then went to VOD. They love these movies, but they don't want the same thing over and over again. But they also don't want homework, right? Like I think Marvel is starting to become homework, and the comic books get like that. But the comic books are soap opera. Like,
well, here's
the thing with movies are not soap operas.
Here's the thing with like comic books, right? Is yes, they'll release fucking 30 issues of the same storyline. But once that storyline is done, if you wait about a month or two, they'll come out with the big ass fucking graphic novel of all that fucking storyline contained.
Right, you wait a little bit, and then you could watch all that. You could read whatever the 12-inch issue arc or the 6-issue arc, whatever that is.
Right. Yeah. And so, but you know, with you can't expect people to keep, you know, especially nowadays, to keep that attention to like, hey, I'm going to watch this TV show, then I'm going to watch this Christmas show, and then I'm going to watch this movie, and then go back to this other movie. It's too much.
You can't expect that.
But it was fun. It was fun. At like the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it was fun. Yes, it was cool. But like I said, you know what they did it? They did it in after credits, and that was fun. Like
That
you
was
watch
fun.
Iron Man, right? You watch Iron Man and you
It
say for
was
the
the
after
mystique
credits,
of
it was a
like, who
mystique
the
of the
fuck is
after credits.
Thanos? Like,
Right, who's
yeah,
Thanos? Or oh, I hear you have a Hulk problem, right? When the fucking general comes into the fucking to the bar and looks at fucking
right.
Tony.
Like we're putting together a team, and it's Tony Stark. Like all those things work, and also like with Kang. Kang is a very cool villain, but where do you go with that? Because it's not working. Jonathan Majors has his own thing. Regardless, they're probably going to recast, but at the same time, it just feels like that character isn't hitting, and you're doing a whole Avengers movie, a whole story arc set with this guy is the villain. And we don't even know who the new team is. Like at this point, it's just like who. I feel like we're at a standstill. It should have been Doctor Doom. It should have like I've been saying this forever.
Doctor Doom would have been perfect.
It should have been Doom this whole time. We've had so many up. We've had since what? We've had what 4 years to make Doom the next villain. Should have happened.
Should have happened. And you know what? That keeps you excited, right? Because you know Doom's coming, so you know Fantastic Four is coming, and then you know X-Men is coming. Like I don't even care about the bad. Like at this point, I don't care who the fuck the bad guy is. I don't care if it's fucking King, the fucking dude from Guardians of the High Evolutionary. Like I honestly now I just want X-Men.
Let me ask you this, regardless of X-Men, because again we have to wait for Deadpool 3 to finish up, right? And then they have to reboot. So we're getting Deadpool 3 with a bunch of old X-Men characters and Wolverine and stuff, and then we have to wait for the reboot of the Marvel X-Men, which they say is like they are not even close.
Right, we're like fucking 10 years away from X-Men.
They're not even close to writing that.
I'm gonna be fucking dead. Listen, in 10 years, I'm gonna be fucking 49 years old. All right, and I'm gonna look fucking lame as hell at 49, wearing my fucking X-Men shirt and being all fucking excited about watching X-Men. It's gonna be lame. Like I could pull it off right now in my 30s, maybe early 40s, but once I reach my 50s and I get X-Men, I'm gonna be looking hella lame.
No, and I'm with you. I want to see X-Men. I want to see, and we still get excited about these movies. Of course we do, but it's about execution, right? You can't. There is no other James Gunn. There's only James Gunn, and now James Gunn has completed his movies, and now take out the Guardians. What are you excited for? It's like
Kevin Feige and Marvel fucked up, right? Because I know Kevin Feige is a fucking head of it, but he could have been like, yo, you know what, James Gunn? Why don't you be like my vice executive, whatever, and you help me oversee, the coming of this.
Whatever the next story arc is.
Right. Why don't you be my second in command?
Four. Yeah.
Right. And let him sort of like also like, concurrently run it with Kevin Feige together. Because like we've said, Kevin Feige's stretched too thin across TV shows and fucking the amusement
park. Which they're cutting back on. They're cutting back on a lot of content. They say they want to simplify everything because they realize there's a little bit of fatigue amongst the audience of there's way too much to watch. We can't watch all these things.
And so, but no, they let him go to DC. They're like, you know what? All right, go ahead. Yeah, you're cool. Go to DC. Go do your stuff over there. It'll be awesome for them. And then we're gonna have fucking DC coming out the woodwork with, again, I know we talk about superhero fatigue, but with Blue Beetle, I'm actually excited for that one. Y'all know why. And then after that, you're getting into me, you're getting under my skin and telling me how good this Superman's gonna be.
It's gonna
so I'm like slowly. I'm slowly.
You know why it's gonna be good? Because he's the first director, probably since Richard Donner, to say, okay, if I'm making a Superman movie, I need to make it the way the 6-year-old in me would want to see Superman. And that's the only way Superman works, because that's the only way you think of Superman as the ultimate superhero. It's reach back of you as a kid, and what's that feeling of running around the house with a cape on? Like, that's the movie. It's not dark and gloominess and mythology. It is, what is the meaning of being a superhero, being this ultimate friend and all these things. I think he's going to nail it with that movie. But enough with the superhero stuff. I want to get to Fear.
Let's get to Fear. Let's get to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yes.
The top 5 greatest white rapper of all time.
Is he? I want to play this clip because I think this movie.
Wait, you don't think Marky Mark is like top 5 white rapper of all time?
I don't even think he counts. I mean, no, I don't. Does he count?
Would you put? I know you want to play this clip, but would you put Marky Mark ahead of? Would you put Vanilla Ice on top of Marky Mark?
I don't think any of those guys would be on there. I mean, realistically, if we're talking about white rappers. I mean, the Beastie Boys would be on there. Eminem would be on there.
Paul Wall.
I'm trying to think who else would be on there.
Will you put it? Hold on. White rappers, right? Because Marky Mark, right? So you got Marky Mark, Vanilla Ice, Eminem. Obviously, Eminem's.
Why would Vanilla Ice and Marky Mark be on there?
Who else do white people have? Macklemore?
Mac Miller. He was good, man. He was good.
Okay, I'll give you Mac Miller. MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, who fucking Eminem destroyed, and then he wants to do emo.
I don't think he's gonna go on there. Let's play this clip. This is how we all.
Bubba Sparks.
Booty,
rocking everywhere. Booty. Okay, go ahead.
I wonder if this is how we all talk to our significant other's parents. Let me know.
David, I don't want to beat around the bush. I came to tell you that you're going to stop seeing Nicole. Now, either you're as smart as you think you are and you'll just go away, or else you're going to make things a lot harder on yourself than they have to be.
You know, Steve, you're really not a faggot.
What?
I'm serious.
Dude, when he goes into that monologue, the movie does like this whole 180. We're talking about fear, by the way. We're gonna jump into our fear conversation because this is very random. We always pick a movie of the week lately. As of lately, we always pick a movie that we feel like the old version of the show, but like this is a really bad movie, but part of us kind of enjoys this. So like that would be The Pest or White Chicks a few weeks back. Did we do a bad movie? Have we done one lately?
No, we haven't.
This is the first one in a while. I feel
like. Because the last couple of weeks we've just done like
new release stuff.
Like Evil Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, I get Tupac vibes from Marky Mark in this. Like when Tupac opens with like, "That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker," right? Like that's like the vibes I'm getting from Marky Mark with when he's like talking to his girlfriend's.
Bernie says this scene, the chest bump at the end of that scene. Sheesh. I don't know if I feel the fear, but I'm feeling some good vibrations. Some may say sweet sensation. You know, this movie, I've wanting to show Victoria this movie for a while. And it's been a few years. I haven't watched this in a while. But it was one of those that we always had in VHS. That I always found to be fun, but I haven't really thought about in a long time. And I told Gabe to watch. I didn't know if you had seen this.
No, I haven't. I was missing that from my Mark Wahlberg, collection.
This feels like a movie you would have seen. Like that's why I was so shocked. This feels like a movie you would have known about or have seen or have been into.
Listen, bro, it's 96. I am in like 8th grade when this movie came out.
You didn't have a crush on Mark Wahlberg?
No, bro. Like in 96 was in the middle of my thug years, bro. Like it's like NWA, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like I'm like in that. So like New Kids on the Block or Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, I really like wouldn't have been
right
into that.
Wasn't your demographic?
It wasn't my demographic at the time. And so then moving forward, I had heard about it, how bad it was, and I was like, well, I don't think I need to watch this. I didn't even know Reese Witherspoon was in this. I mean, if you would have told me that we had a young, Reese Witherspoon, I probably would have watched it sooner.
This movie has a. Sorry, I'm looking for my phone. This movie shockingly has a really good cast. like for something that's this schlocky. This is also directed by the guy that he's made the 50 Shades of Grey movies.
And I don't know if they did makeup on Mark Wahlberg or if he got himself some fucking plastic surgery, but it looked like he had like pock marks, like old like pimple marks on his face. So I don't know if that was makeup. He's very young in this.
He's got to be like 21, 22
but
maybe.
He reminded me of the bad guy from Sylvester Stallone's Cobra with like the fucking pock marks on his fucking cheek.
Those guys. What were they called? They were called mutants or something. I think they were called mutants in that movie.
And Cobra?
I'm trying to remember. They were a cult.
Yeah, they were a cult. They were trying to kill
that guy was gross. That guy looked gross. Mark Wahlberg is gross in this. For those of you who don't know, Fear is about.
It's like Cape Fear light. It's like fucking Robert De Niro Cape Fear light.
It's Cape Fear. It's Cape Fear for like 90s teenagers, and it's Alyssa Milano's in this. William Peterson, who's like the only, like I would say, actor of worth who's trying his best against Mark Wahlberg. But William Peterson plays the dad, Chicago native, Chicago legend. Also in Manhunter, he was great in that.
His
But
wife was a babe too. Like Mark tried to get the mom and the daughter.
he tried. Yeah, he did. And this movie, seeing it for the first time in a few years, like I remember all the beats and stuff, but I don't remember it being as funny as it was. But this movie starts off very like soap opera 90s Dawson Creek-esque, and then about the halfway point it becomes
for our lives to be over.
You should sing that next show. Instead of playing the intro, we'll just have you singing. But around the halfway point, this movie becomes really fucking dark and takes itself so seriously. And once it starts taking itself so seriously, like you can't help but like laugh at everything because it's just ridiculous shit. It's like we talked about off camera. There's like a scene where Reese Witherspoon is being finger banged on like a roller coaster.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna look like a creepified. But like yeah, like I brought this up to you, right? And in our chat, it's like the Flopbuster chat. So we also have Victoria. So I was like, I didn't know how to put this delicately, right? So like in asterisks, I was like, Victoria, put on your earmuffs, even though it's fucking being like close your eyes, But anyways, I was like, yo, like Reese Witherspoon gets like finger banged on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
and
this is a really weird movie.
And I thought you were gonna respond, right? But to my fucking chagrin, Victoria responded, and she's like, "Yeah, that would not make any sense. Like I've been on that roller coaster, like that, like is not possible at all."
I feel like people would see. They would notice. They're being very obvious about it.
Right. Absolutely. Plus, like it's got to be uncomfortable for her and for him. Like I don't
think it's uncomfortable for him because
according
to him, it's
like your arm, like okay, like your arm angle, right? Like if you're like, so you're like you're sitting next to somebody.
He has a really strange technique.
Like his arm angle, like you're reaching over.
He does this,
or you're doing this.
He does this,
like this on a fucking roller coaster. Like that's. I mean, maybe it helps your.
Maybe he didn't know at the time how to do it,
but like I don't know.
Yeah, no, he has a very strange technique. And it's also the only thing he claims he offers to the table of the relationship. Like when he corners her in the bathroom and she's like, "Oh, you're an abuser, you're crazy." He's like, "Yeah, well, I still do. I could do that for you." Like that's okay. That's all you bring to this relationship. Like he knows how to finger bang you on a roller coaster. That's about it. But that's
I will say it was her first finger bang. So I mean, maybe obviously you're always gonna remember your first finger bang.
He is the creepiest I've ever seen Mark Wahlberg in this movie. And his acting is it's bizarre. His acting choices are bizarre. The facial expressions, the way his line delivery is. Half the movie, like he's inaudible. Like you can't even understand like the music is so loud and he's just like throughout the entire film.
Maybe
until the second half where he starts going crazy and then every line he says is just instantly iconic.
Maybe he was just comfortable as an actor at that point. I mean, was this his first movie?
Was it? I thought it was The Basketball Diaries.
Possibly.
Because I know it was The Basketball Diaries that got a lot of people looking at him. It got him the job for Boogie Nights too.
Maybe, but I mean,
Boogie Nights is only a year after this, and he's pretty fucking stellar in that movie.
I mean, I listen. I will give him the benefit of the doubt because for rappers turned actors, right? I feel like their first role is always, a band.
Not Cube.
Obviously not Cube. Obviously not Tupac. Poetic Justice, right? But like I don't know, some of them. I guess not even Eminem because Eminem's 8 Mile. I mean, shit. I just watched 8 Mile this past week.
You talk about 8 Mile. He could have been a huge actor. He turned down like 10 movie roles. Like he didn't want to be in anything after that, which is like crazy. That should have been the thing that like he's amazing in that. Like I would have guessed that he'd been acting for some time watching that movie.
He made a cameo. Was it Knocked Up? There was a cameo that he made.
It might have been Knocked Up. He was in The Interview as well.
Right.
I think it might have been Knocked Up. I don't know. One of those movies, he does a cameo. And Bernie, you mentioned that scene where he chases down Gary. Poor Gary, man. Gary's a really good friend, and Gary gets beat up for like no reason, and then he gets his neck snapped for like no reason, other than just being a really nice friend at Reese Witherspoon. Which shame on her. She puts that kid in danger throughout the entire runtime.
All the time. Also, Marky Mark was using the finger bang motion for that fucking neck break because he's like grabbing down
That's
low and just went like
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like you would even break somebody's neck with
Yeah,
that.
it's weird how he becomes like this animalistic like beast in the second half of the movie. Like the first half, he's just like kind of a non-character. He's kind of like not charismatic, not charming. He's just like kind of there.
Also, are they not checking IDs like in these fucking
How does he get
bars
into
in
the high
Seattle?
school?
Right.
He's able to walk into the
How
high
did
school.
these high school girls go to this fucking bar with these like fucking cult like Manson like people?
That's true. He also he rapes her friend, and that's another thing he does.
Tell her you wanted it. You came on to me.
Tell her you wanted it. Everything he says in this, he gets very weird. He has that great scene where he's screaming through the peephole. Like I said, I was laughing a lot.
That's the iconic scene to it, right?
I guess, yeah. And then I wanted to play the clip. My other favorite moment is when William Peterson uses all of his strength and somehow he's able to throw David out this window, but like his fucking body flies like 200 feet to hit a rock.
Bro, that's Olympic level fucking shot put fucking people throwing, man.
Yeah,
like that's like the way
I should have got the clip.
Know who,
we could have played
he
it.
reminded me of fucking Jazz from like French Prince of Bel-Air when they throw him out the fucking door. That's how it was. And it's like fucking body flies
like his
through.
Body goes flying. Like that's how Marky Mark was. And like he goes flying. Another fucked up thing that whole scene, like this movie, like turns horrific quickly. But like the tone of it is just that's what makes this movie so entertaining. It's just like it's so bizarre. Like you can't take your eyes off of it. It becomes just fucking wild. So David and his friends, they show up to the family's house, Steve's house, Reese Witherspoon, the dad, and all of them. And they're going to terrorize them because William Peterson breaks David's Chucky shrine. He has like a little Chucky doll, and he has like a little bracelet that says David's girl. And like William Peterson freaks out, starts throwing shit everywhere. So they want to return the favor, and they show up, and that's the third act of the movie. They also kill the dog, which is like
that like really like worried me a little bit.
It like upset me, but it's also played again. Like, is this supposed to be funny? Like,
right, it was played as a joke because you're like, oh, I forget the name of the dog. We're like, oh, come here, doggy dog, and like. The fucking they pop the head. I don't know what the fuck the kid says. They pop the head of the dog through like the doggy door, and then it's like, oh, they go to fucking pet his head, and then it's like the fucking decapitated head of a dog falls down.
Hey, Connor, we don't talk shit about Triple X State of the Union. All right, they tied it all around in Triple X 3, the Return of Xander Cage, and everything got tied up, man. It all led up to Return of Xander Cage. With Donnie Yen, Ice Cube came back, Vin Diesel. They're doing crazy surfing and rollerblading in that movie. All right, so Triple X State of the Union has a purpose.
Cube went okay. I know we're talking about Marky Mark, right? But Cube went like I would feel like the
he went like the family friendly route.
Right,
like,
you start off with like fucking right. You start off with the Hood movie.
Yes. And then he did like stoner movies.
And then he did the stoner movies.
He was known for the stoner movies.
Right. And then he did Anaconda with J-Lo. And then I feel like, I forget what he did. Probably Triple X here. And then he's like, are we there yet? Are we almost there? Have we arrived? Like,
there's like 10 of those movies, right? Or is there 2?
There's 3. There's a fucking trilogy of Are We There Yet?
Are there 3?
Yeah, there's 3.
What's the third one?
I don't know.
Are we there yet?
Probably.
Are we done yet?
We got here.
There's a third one.
There is a third one.
I doubt it. Somebody find out. Is there a third? Are we there yet? I've never seen those movies.
The first one is I've seen.
Damn, Alyssa Milano, Marky Mark showed her who's the boss. That's funny.
Yeah, he did.
She's pretty sexy in this.
bra and panties. There was a bra and panties scene with her in. I mean, listen, we're not here to objectify women, right? We're women friendly here. But Alyssa Milano, she's a baddie.
Still is.
Still is.
Still is. But she looked great in this. This movie shot very well. Everybody looks great. It's shot like it's beautifully shot. It looks cool. It's set in Seattle, right? Like it's got that cool scenery there.
Right. The mountains, the forest, the winding roads.
It's a bizarre movie. It's completely it's so immensely watchable because you're sucked into the soap opera of it. Like the stepmom calling Reese Witherspoon a little slut. Which is like, that's another thing that made me laugh. It's like so out of left field. They're like, you look like a little slut. She's like, what? It's these great little moments that I don't even think they realized that they had in the movie that turn out to be the best parts of the movie.
Right. It was just a crazy film, man. From like the get-go.
Cube also did Ghost of Mars. I haven't seen that in a while. Have you seen that, Gabe? Should we talk about that on the show?
John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars. I have not seen that in a while. I think I saw it when it came out, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And that was it. And that was it. That was the end of the Ghost of Mars for me. And again, I only saw that because it's like, oh, Ice Cube's in it. Again, we're talking about Ghetto Gabe, right? So it was like, yeah, I want to see this Ice Cube movie.
What are some other obscure Ice Cube movies? Not the barbershop movies. It wouldn't like I'm trying to think of other. Oh, he was in that movie Lottery Ticket. He played like the old man. It was about Bow Wow winning the lottery.
Oh.
And he had to like survive. He had to like survive the weekend in the hood because like everybody was gonna come after him for the lottery.
You can't forget about the 21 Jump Street series.
Yeah, I guess it's one of his like bigger things, right? He did that movie with Charlie Day, Fist Fight.
But like listen, I'm a big Mexican music fan, right? So he just came out with a song with this Mexican banda called
Charlie Day?
No, Ice Cube.
Oh,
it's called Banda MS, and Ice Cube did a song with them. It just came out this past week. And Ice Cube, if you look at the video, has like the weirdest, like he looks uncomfortable standing with a bunch of like Mexican dudes with like guitars and like trumpets and stuff. He looks uncomfortable, and then he starts rapping in the middle of the song, and like the rapping is just like I don't know, it like feels out of place. The same band, Banda MS, they did like a one with like Snoop Dogg like 2 years ago, and it's like it flows so awesome with Snoop Dogg, but the one that they just did with Ice Cube is just like a little bit cringy.
Maybe he doesn't have the juice anymore.
Maybe. So like if you want to see something funny, look up Banda MS, like MS. So like Banda, like band, put an A at the end, band, MS, and Ice Cube, and it's just like the weirdest music video.
He did do that movie, Connor, and I feel like that's where like his career kind of becomes like he's like the gruff dad figure in like every movie. Right? He's just like kind of like grouchy like dad or dad type in all these things. Come to think of it, Tony Cube don't really be in any obscure shit. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess I've just listed like pretty much his entire filmography at this point. But I'm trying to think of what else to say about Fear. It's like such a simple movie, right? Because these are all films that were
Ride Along.
Oh yeah, he did the Ride Along movies too. When you think about Fear, like there's Poison Ivy with like Drew Barrymore, Fatal Attraction. This was like a whole thing in the 90s. You mentioned Cape Fear. This was like a whole subgenre of its own. Maybe we should bring back that genre. Like the sexy thriller. I don't think this movie's that sexy.
It's not. Listen, besides, okay,
there's nothing about Wahlberg that's sexy in this movie. Maybe in Boogie Nights, but in this movie, there's nothing about him that's sexy.
You would think he's sexy in Boogie Nights.
He is. Think that. He's got he's a star. He's a star.
Of everybody in Boogie Nights to say that they're sexy, you got
everybody.
You got Julian Redbeard Moore, and like you're just gonna.
Everybody's sexy in that movie. That's the point of Luis Guzman, Don Cheadle, Burt Reynolds.
Like there's only like 3 scenes in this that are like maybe like
sexy.
and
like 2 of them are uncomfortable. One of them,
You got
he
you got
essentially
the
rapes
roller
her.
coaster. Yeah, we got the well, the other one too, the Alyssa Milano one. He like brings her over the shoulder. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
tell,
there's essentially like 2 rape scenes in this
right,
movie.
tell him that you're mine. Tell him that you're mine. And it's like, oh, it's she. Alyssa Milano's like, yeah, I'm his. And then like he like puts it over his shoulder, which I still don't get. Like he walks into this party with Reese Witherspoon, and where did Reese Witherspoon go? Like I forgot where she went, and then like he sees her friend, and it's like, okay, I'm taking you to bed.
Well,
With
no.
like,
Well, what happened was she goes home and then she takes the car and she decides to go back to David. And when she takes the car to go back to David, she sees him raping her. Well, she doesn't think her friend's being raped, but
right,
we know it. The audience. It's implied to the audience that she's being raped. But even when he seduces her, when she tells him, "Oh, I'll leave the code unlocked," and that's how he finds the house key, the code to the house.
right.
Even that scene is very uncomfortable. Like it's nothing about this feels right. Also, how old is David supposed to be? Is he like 22 in this?
I'm gonna say maybe mid-20s.
I mean, I guess that's realistic. There's a lot of guys that are like that. They're like in their mid-20s that like dating high schoolers, but they're like the biggest creeps of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always guys like that. There's always gonna be guys like that.
I guess that not all of them look like Mark Wahlberg though. So I guess he's got that going for him.
Right. Yes. I guess.
He is something else in this movie, but it is really the line delivery that is great. Like the way he was just saying things and like
whispering, like everything was like a soft.
Why don't you give me a soda, okay? Try harder next time. Like you know what, Steve? You're not so much of a. I'm not gonna say it, but after like everything in it is just like
this is my family now. This is my family now.
This is my family now. Your wife was all over my stick. Like just the dialogue choices, everything in it. He's very campy. This is a very campy movie. Yeah. Even the friends like go down like, oh, we're gonna go kill this dude. Like, all right, like I guess we're gonna go and do that. But it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think a lot of these movies are though. When you think about the '90s and the sexy erotic thrillers like this, some of them are better than others, or at least have more gravitas, right? But I think that they're all a lot of fun.
The Babysitter, Crush.
The Crush, yeah.
The Crush.
Yeah. There was another one too. I'm blanking on the name. It was about these girls that prank call this guy, and he turns out to be a creep. Can't think of the name. They're the hand that rocked the cradle too.
The hand that rocked the cradle.
Yeah, that's another one.
The one with Nicole Kidman, where she's the weather girl, and then
to die for.
To die for.
Yeah, that's another one. That's she's pretty much seducing a high schooler in order to kill her husband.
Right, 2 high schoolers.
2 high schoolers. Yeah, the great movie. You guys should see that movie. Nicole Kidman's pretty awesome.
And in recent memory, Keanu Reeves, Knock Knock with Ana de Armas. It was a great sexy thriller.
We should talk about the Jennifer Lopez movie, The Boy Next Door.
The Boy Next Door, yeah.
I've never actually seen that movie.
You've never seen The Boy Next Door?
No, that seems like a movie you would like. Is that a movie you like?
I mean, it's.
Have you seen the movie Swim Fan?
No, I have not seen Swim Fan.
That is another one in this genre, and it's about this guy who's this like all-star athlete. He has a girlfriend, and this one girl in his high school, like he does something out of gratitude, just very nice to her. Nothing sexual, doesn't come onto her, but she thinks he's coming onto her, so she becomes obsessed with him and starts ruining his life throughout the whole movie to get together with him. And it is like campy, cringe, early 2000s. I forget who's in this one. It must have came out in like 2001, 2002. We should just do a whole series where we talk about these.
Remember we did a whole series of sexy fucking comedies. I mean, I even brought the sex comedies to the Not That Bad. But like now we're gonna talk about sexy thrillers.
Sexy thrillers.
Basic Instinct comes to mind.
Basic Instinct. That's like the good ones though, right? Like when you think about like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct, Body Heat. Young Mark Wahlberg talks like every third grader. He does. It's crazy how like good he is in later films.
Like,
Like
I don't
The
want to
Departed.
disparage Marky Mark, right? But are we like, isn't like his backstory like he dropped out of like 8th grade or some shit
He
like
like beat up a
that?
Vietnamese man too.
He beat up like a Vietnamese man. I can't even fucking say
Yeah.
the word, but whatever. He beat up a Chinaman, or he was like labeled racist and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. Like he's been through some stuff, and I guess I don't think he even went or finished high school. So yeah, I mean, I would say he sounds like a 3rd grader.
He's from the streets, and
He's
I
from
think
the
maybe
streets,
it's
the
kind of
Boston
hard to.
streets. Listen, Boston has always had that stigma, right? So it's the reason why Kevin Garnett didn't want to go to the fucking Celtics. Like he had to get fucking Paul Pierce to like fucking tell him like, hey, yeah, come play the Boston.
They're crazy there. Boston
Right.
people are crazy.
Boston people are crazy.
They just I've seen The Fighter. They're crazy over there, man.
Right.
But yeah, that was Fear. And what are your favorite for anybody that's seen Fear? What are your favorite moments from this movie? I feel like we ran through some of the best bits of it that I feel like are really funny. I don't know, like I guess if you really enjoy this movie in like a totally straight way, like straightforward kind of way, I guess I don't know if it plays that well. I feel like this movie works because it's so fun, like it's like unironically or it's ironically funny. It's like all these moments that like maybe in other movies wouldn't work, but it's like the bizarre acting choices. It's Mark Wahlberg, William Peterson. What works is Mark Wahlberg is so bad, but he's trying so hard, and William Peterson is so good and he's trying so hard. So you get these two forces playing against each other. Somebody that's very that has all this experience as an actor in this kind of movie, and somebody who's really not an actor yet, and they're just screaming at each other, and it's fucking it rules. It kind of rules.
Damn, we have kind of been years since I've seen Fear. I don't have much of a memory. You guys made me want to watch it again.
You should watch it again. I think you'll have fun with it.
And Bernie, I don't mean to disparage anybody from the Boston area, bro. It's just I don't know.
You don't know about Boston?
I don't know about
crazy.
Boston. We're crazy here in Chicago too.
But I wanted to say, because some people took some issue, some of my friends, that I gave it like 2 stars on Letterboxd, which I feel like is pretty gracious for this for this movie. I would still say, like, if I had to like criticize it, it's probably a bad movie, but it's a ton of fun. It's a good time for sure.
Right.
As a kid, I didn't understand the Ferris wheel sequence and was wondering why he was putting his fingers in a girl's. Yeah, I think even now it's kind of that's such a bizarre scene. I don't know, like, and it's meant to be sexy and like eye-opening for her that she's getting, this experience with this guy who's like
the sexual awakening.
She's like a sexual awakening there.
Right. She's a little repressed. Her parents have her repressed. They wanted to go to some lame ass concert, and she's like, I just want to go fucking have fun, go to a bar with my friends, to hang out.
Right.
And
no, it's not even like a bar. It's like a diner or something. It's like
no. This was after the diner, because remember, she gets the flyer.
Oh, that's right.
She gets a flyer for some party, some rave at a warehouse. Yeah. And she sees like, he's also going. So now she skips out on some, corny ass, Michael Bolton concert.
These are all the scenes in the movie where I couldn't understand a word Mark Wahlberg was saying.
Oh,
for the first 25, 30 minutes of the movie, I had no idea what this dude was talking about. Only until he starts screaming, where I'm like, okay, all right, this is fun.
It's also pretty cool to see the progression he's had as an actor, right? From this to like even like working with Scorsese in The Departed, right?
Well, he's working with Scorsese. I mean, he works
because I would argue
directors.
That's Mark Wahlberg's like best acting was in The Departed. I know you're gonna fucking call him back with fucking Boogie Nights.
No, I would say Departed. I would say Boogie Nights. I think now watching Mark Wahlberg, it's just like, oh yeah, it's Mark Wahlberg. He's a great
even the other guys with
the other guys.
He's Will Ferrell. He's great.
He's also great in there's a movie with him and Joaquin. They play brothers. It's called We Own the Night.
I've seen that. Yeah,
I really like that movie. I think that's an underrated film. Anybody that hasn't seen We Own the Night, it's about these brothers on opposite sides of the law in the 1980s.
One's good, one's bad.
One's runs a nightclub in the 1980s. Joaquin Phoenix. And the other is Mark Wahlberg, who's a cop, and their dad is a cop. something happens that's very tragic, and they get in deep with these gangsters, and Joaquin Phoenix needs to make kind of like this heroic choice, and like kind of like it's such a good movie. It's very underrated. I think it's from like 2007.
Right.
But definitely check
those
that movie out.
those Wahlbergs also love to play fucking cop stuff.
They do love to play cops.
Donnie
Wahlberg's whole career is playing a cop in everything.
Except that M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in that.
It's,
Yeah.
it's-
Oh, they both work with Shyamalan, right?
Yeah,
Mark
The
Wahlberg
Happening.
he has The Happening. No, ma'am. Like his line delivery in that movie.
Do you
is
think The
great.
Happening's gonna like? I feel like The Happening is having a resurgence. That people are actually looking at this now in the different lens and being like, you know what, this is actually that bad.
You know what? Out of his movies specifically, because Shyamalan is so interesting as a filmmaker. Like his movies all look amazing. They're shot well. They're just very bizarre, but it's all intentional. That's the crazy part. Is when you ask him like, oh, like what, like this is kind of funny the way they deliver this line or this and that, and he goes, oh yeah, I know. Like I wanted it to be like everything's a very intentional choice. I don't know if The Happening will have that same kind of reacclaim, but you know what movies I feel like are? The Village and Lady in the Water. I feel like a lot of people on the internet seem to really love those movies now, and maybe that'll happen with The Happening. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
Dude, I haven't seen that happening since it came out in theaters, and then that was it for me.
That was like a big deal. Like, he was like pitching it as, this is my first R-rated movie. There's a lot of blood. It's very much this and that. That was the whole marketing campaign. It was Shyamalan's first R-rated film.
And then you had young Zoe Deschanel in it.
Right. Did she play? She plays his wife in that movie, right?
No.
Okay,
they're survivors, and they're surviving together. And then obviously
I don't remember anything about that film besides the scene with the old lady. Where Mark Wahlberg's like, "No, ma'am, we're not doing anything."
No, man. Fucking plants are trying to kill you.
The Village definitely got a reappraisal. See, yeah, I feel like a lot of people really dig that movie now.
I haven't even. I honestly, between The Village and The Lady in the Water, those are two movies I didn't see at all. Should I rewatch those?
We should watch them. I don't think I've seen The Village. I don't think I've seen Lady in the Water.
Like I think like I saw obviously Signs. I think that's one of his best ones for me at least.
You know, something I will say is, no matter anything people say about Shyamalan, I think he's awesome. I think Shyamalan.
I do too.
I love his movies. I like most of his movies.
I like The Devil.
I think he's. Oh yeah, he wrote that. Yeah, I think he's the closest thing. Like he got a lot of comparisons to Alfred Hitchcock, and I think he would right now out of a lot of directors. I think he would probably be the closest. The way he shoots movies, the way he gets big stars in them. I just like the way he makes movies. Right, like he does like this really cool idea. I'm going to shoot it for $10 million. It's going to gross like $200 million. I think that's cool. I think that it's great that there's a director out there still making movies like that, where you just get a big star, keep it in a self-contained setting like Dave Bautista in Knock at the Cabin, and you just do something very interesting with the story. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I thought Old had a lot of great ideas, shot beautifully. Didn't land totally well for me, but I didn't hate it.
I feel like The Visit landed better for me than Old.
I really liked. I thought The Visit was cool. Thought it was funny. I thought it was creepy. That was another one that I really enjoyed.
Right.
The notable exceptions where Donnie doesn't play a cop is the abusive zoo guy in Zookeeper, the snot-nosed alien in Dreamcatcher. I forgot he was in Dreamcatcher. And underwear guy in Sixth Sense. Dreamcatcher, that's a movie I haven't seen in a while. I wonder if that movie will get reappraisal. Have you seen Dreamcatcher?
The fuck is Dreamcatcher?
It's based on the works of Stephen King. Your boy from the View SQ universe is in that, Jason Lee.
Oh, interesting.
Hey, when did that come out? 2003?
Dude, if I've never seen it, I don't fucking know when it comes out.
I guess I'm asking the chat. I think that's 2003. That's a movie I remember seeing on like VHS.
Listen, I'm always surprised like how you fucking know dates of like when movies came out. Like unless it was like a memorable experience for a movie for me, like I could fucking say like, hey, what year did fucking Con Air come out? You're gonna come out with like, oh, that shit came out in fucking 1999. I'm like, how the fuck you know when fucking shit comes out?
You know what? I was watching a movie the other day, And I want this genre to come back. We talk about movie genres that should come back. And I feel like this almost came back in like 2013. This genre of film. Gerald Butler tried to bring this back. And I guess he did. He made like 3 sequels. But it's like the Die Hard in a different location movie. I was watching, you talk about Con Air, which is Die Hard in a different location. I was watching Air Force One, which is Die Hard with the president on a plane. This is essentially Die Hard. Like, this whole movie is Die Hard. Under Siege, Die Hard. Like, but all those movies rule. Like, they're pretty awesome. Well, what's crazy is they all were big box office hits. We need to go back to that. We need to make a new Die Hard, but not quite Die Hard movie. We had that with like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen. Let's do that again.
No,
let's get somebody. Let's do it. I don't know who could it be. I don't know what the
actually. Who's your new act? Like, listen, if The Rock got off his fucking
not The Rock
horse,
I guess he had he did his Die Hard. It was that skyscraper thing. I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah,
Did you see?
Listen, I've seen every Rock movie because I grew up with The Rock with like fucking wrestling and shit, right? So like I've seen every Rock movie that's come out, and I wish I haven't seen like the last couple of ones. Like, fuck me.
I'm trying to think who is a big act. Gerald Butler is probably the only one. He's the only one that does like actual R-rated action movies.
Plane. You have Plane. He just did Plane with fucking with Luke Cage.
That movie was pretty successful. It made money. Like, people want to go see it. Like,
I want to go see it.
I'd ask you this. There's a movie that is getting reappraisal. I haven't seen this movie, and everybody claims it is awesome.
So when we talk reappraisal, we're talking about like it's like a cult love now.
It is like it did decent, but like now the internet is like praising this movie. They think it's fucking awesome. I think of something like let's see, what's gotten Miami Vice. I showed you Miami Vice. We talked about that. I said this movie's getting a lot of reappraisal.
Great drink as well too. Dude, like if you guys are ever like in Mexico, Cuba,
order a Miami Vice.
Order a Miami Vice. You would not fucking regret it. If you guys don't know what a Miami Vice is, it's a pina colada mixed with a strawberry daiquiri.
Oh, dude, I love that drink.
It's so fucking good.
Time I was on vacation on that cruise last summer, that's all I ordered, and they were free. they were all free.
Look at Miami Vices, and I don't drink, but when I was in the fucking Dominican like a couple months ago, I was ordering some fucking Miami Vices.
You know what? Let's drink some Miami Vices next episode.
We could.
Let's drink them on camera. Fuck it. Let's do it. Everybody have a Miami Vice, and we'll talk about Miami Vice. There's maybe you've seen this movie. Have you seen Den of Thieves with Gerald Butler and Ice Cube's son?
With O'Shea Jackson? No.
Okay, that's a movie that a lot of people have compared to like Heat, but
didn't they come out recently?
That came out in like 2016, 2017. And that doesn't have the greatest reviews, but all over Twitter, I just see everybody talk about, oh, this movie's a lot of fun. It's actually really, really good. I've seen nothing but reappraisal for that one, like getting its own little fan circle. Jennifer's Body's another one. We talk about that all the time. Jennifer's Body came out of nowhere. Now it has this huge cult following. I mean, we love that movie too. We think it's great, but it's so weird how that works. How a movie maybe doesn't land and people don't get it, and then 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it's become this huge thing with a bunch of fans, like Halloween 3. What's another movie? Like, I guess the Rob Zombie movies, they have their own little fans.
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko. But I feel like Donnie Darko did well critically, but I feel like now it's just like there's a lot of people that really love that movie too. Critically,
but initially Donnie Darko did bomb at the box office.
Did a lot of people? I guess I could see how audiences wouldn't connect with that. More so now, but I guess then I mean, but I always find that interesting, like what movies are gonna stick around and gonna stand the test of time. Maybe Halloween Ends. Me and you, we were on that train already. We already said.
Are you saying because I'm wearing the Michael Myers shirt here?
I saw the Michael Myers shirt. We said Halloween Ends rules. We
Feels
thought
like
it was good. It was the good stuff
on camera here.
10 of Thieves goes down as one of the worst theater experiences. I guess Birdie's on a fan. Oh, not the movie, but the people in attendance. I was like, oh, jeez, the movie.
And then to go back up to Connor's comment, I am a fan of Jason Lee.
Oh, sorry, Connor, I didn't even see your comment.
I am. all his View Askew stuff. My Name is Earl. I'm still mad the way that they finished the My Name is Earl TV show on a fucking cliffhanger, and then they just fucking canceled the show.
We watched that show in high school. They showed us a few episodes of it.
I was mad how My Name is Earl ended. And then the guy that did it had a Raising Hope. He did a show called Raising Hope.
Oh yeah.
And then he brought back the characters from My Name is Earl and sort of gave them their own season finale within Raising Hope. So
Who's in Raising Hope? I feel like who's in that show?
Jamie Priestley is in it. Obviously Jason Lee. You had a fat back then. He was fat. Ethan Suplee,
Yeah,
as his brother. This hot, she's hot. So I forget her name, but she was like
she's hot. I forget
she
her
was
name.
hot. I think it was Patricia Vasquez from The Mummy.
Got it.
Was in there.
Travis, oh, you're talking about the Dreamcatcher. It's basically Stand By Me with superpowers. Donnie's an alien. He gives 4 boys superpowers for saving his life. Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane. Yeah, I forget that movie has a pretty stacked cast. That's funny.
Travis, I'm glad to know that you watched My Name is Earl, and I think we all know who Earl Jr.'s dad is. I think we know who his dad is.
Halloween Ends makes me sad. Is it because it rules? It's really good. I think, you know what? It was funny watching the internet meltdown with that movie.
All right, so I feel like there's maybe some new people here, right, that don't know this, but I'm not a huge Halloween guy. Like, I stand on this hill, I will die on this hill, right? So I mean, I could say 1978 is just for me. I didn't watch 2 till years later. 3, I just actually recently watched within the last couple of years. I've never seen 4, 5, and 6 because I heard those are suck. H2O, I watched in theaters because I was a teenager and I liked LL Cool J, again, back with hip hop. Then I watched Resurrection because of Busta Rhymes. And I thought that one is awesome. I will stand that one is awesome. Resurrection is great, right? And then Rob Zombie films. Like, I would put Rob Zombie's films like as like the top of my Halloween mountain.
Right.
And then I feel like if I'm
going
to go,
Leo's with you on that. Leo, he loves that first Rob Zombie movie, like,
right,
a lot. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna put the new iteration of like the Halloweens, like Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. I would put those as like top 5 categories, like between Rob Zombie and like the newer Halloweens. Like those are gonna be like my top 5. Like I feel like those are even better than like the original run. Fucking people are gonna come for me, but that is just what I feel as not a huge Michael Myers guy. Like I don't even have Myers on my on like my fucking Mount Rushmore of horror icons.
I think that's a pretty mild take. I don't think that's a bad take. I don't think these movies are like. I think some people look at them, they're like, oh, it's cinema. Like the way they talk about them, it's just like they're Martin Scorsese or something, and they go, these are cinematic. Like these are fucking. Hey, Paul Rudd stops the Fat Myers with a little pile of rocks. Cinema.
Listen, I don't know which one it is, but like the Halloween people lost me when they're like, oh yeah, he rapes his niece. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's the 6th one. That's the 6th one. That movie is very strange. Every cut of that movie is very strange. It's a bizarre movie. But I am with you. I love the first Halloween, but I think what makes the first Halloween great is that it's this small, almost like a student film. It's like they have this really minuscule budget. It's great what they do with it. But it becomes this huge thing, and everybody thinks it's like the greatest horror movie and all that. But the Green Trilogy, which I don't know why we're talking about this now, but fuck it, why not? Those movies are fun. I think 2018 had some great moments. I think Kills is whatever, it's serviceable. But I think Ends does something that is kind of but like the way you guys talk about Halloween 2. It's just like, oh, like this kind of speaks to me in a way that's not trying to be like these other movies. It's doing this 1980s coming of age story where the main character kind of falls to the evil that took on the Shape. Like, it's like this evil that festers throughout this whole town, and like everybody is kind of infected with it. And it's the one out of all three movies that actually feels like a John Carpenter movie. That
Right.
feels like the most John Carpenter out of the David Gordon Green movies. I like 2018, like I said, Kills is whatever, has some good moments, but I think Ends truly feels like Christine or The Fog. Like there's moments in there that feel very eerie and creepy, and like the music owns, the cinematography is cool. I don't think it's like one of the greatest horror movies or anything, but out of that franchise, Halloween Ends is pretty well made compared to some of the other ones.
I don't know. I just feel like the whole entire franchise is just one fucking convoluted fucking mess. It's like Marvel right now. It's like to bring it full circle. It's like Marvel. It's just one
Bernie
big
says
mess.
he refuses to accept how they did Michael in this one. Michael's kind of a bitch in that movie. He's kind of a bitch. He's just decrepit, waiting in this cave. He's like, feed me more souls. But hey, I enjoyed it. I haven't watched it since it came out. I saw it the 2 times. I think
Right.
I watched it like on Peacock when it came out too. But I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was crazy. I don't think it's sacrilegious to admit that the OG Halloween kind of sucks. I, however, love 2018 Kills. 3 is fun. 4 and 5 Resurrection are all entertaining in dumb ways. That's what's cool about these movies, right? Like you kind of, I don't know, like movies are movies. You can have fun with any of these.
Also, that's what's awesome about sometimes having franchises that are like fucking 12 movies deep. Like, I mean, listen, I also will stand on this hill that Fast and the Furious, I don't care what anybody says, is one of the most entertaining franchises of all time. Like, I could sit and watch any one of these 1 through 9 and have a fun time with it. 9 is fucking outlandish as hell.
It is.
Fucking a Fiero in fucking space, right? It is outlandish. I have all these, right? 9 is the one that's like, you go to fucking space. Fucking Luda and fucking Tyrese are in space, right? 2 brothers in
and
space.
Cardi, I think people seem to forget Cardi B's also in it.
Cardi B's also in it.
and Bad Bunny.
Right, and you're just like, out fucking landish, right? But still, its roots was street racing, right? You watch one and you're like, one entertaining, and then it progressively gets better, and then they also get more outlandish. But again, it's like any of these, like I have so much fun with that franchise, and I can't wait for 10 to come out in like a week or 2.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for 10. I actually think I'm gonna start rewatching the new one or the old ones soon. I think I might go. I haven't seen the first one in a very long time. I think I might actually put that on.
Tokyo Drift. Watch Tokyo Drift. That's like top 2, bro. Like top 2. It's like
there's a lot of people that think that. Yeah.
Like it's the first one, and then Tokyo Drift is better than the second one.
Tokyo Drift's one of the few that is actually about racing.
It is. Like it's fucking Drift King, man. Also, they did the Drift King dirty in 9. Like what the fuck?
That's true. No, I'm with you on that. I think the Fast and Furious movies are a lot of fun. And I think that's what like when you talk about different franchises, if you can keep it going, if you can keep it interesting, I think people will enjoy it. That's got me excited about the guest that we've been alluding to, which we know is going to come on soon in about 2 weeks, I would say, because I'm interested to pick their brain about some recent, I'll say, horror franchises that we've talked about from time to time. Which we talk about movies that have gone on long, right? I got a hot take, and I'm just gonna say it here.
Hot take. Oh shit!
I got a hot take.
I thought I was the only ones with hot takes.
No, I got a hot take because I've kind of sat on it, and me and Victoria have been talking about it. And I messaged you too because I was like, I was like, I might have jumped the gun a little bit on this movie. Is Scream 6 good?
Fuck, man.
Is it fun? Is it fun as like a fan, or is it actually a good movie?
I mean,
does it stand on its own in like repeat value or anything?
Do you have another hour? Do our people like our 6
because
people
you bring up the Fast and
hour
Furious movies, right? Like the thing about the Fast and Furious is like they work on their own. Like say what you want about those movies, but you go watch the first one, you don't need to watch the other ones. You go watch the third one, you don't need to watch the other ones. And they're all really fun. Bad comparison, I know.
No, it's a great comparison.
But I was thinking about 6. We were talking about it, and we rewatched a little bit, and we're just like, did we we were like, it's the one of the few times that I've thought this where I'm like, did I actually like this? I don't know. I just don't think it's hard to say because I think the movie's fine and I think there's good stuff in it, but I started questioning my own opinion about Scream 6 that maybe did I force myself to like it when I saw it?
Listen, do you want me? I'm going to answer this question for
Okay,
you.
go
I
ahead.
feel like I answered this question in the chat, and I'm just going to answer it right now, right? We did force ourselves to like it, all right?
Dude, that's what Birdie's like, damn, I need to rewatch Scream 6.
And don't take my word for it, but like as we had this conversation and I thought about it too, right? And I brought this up, right? I wish Scream 6, I wish they would have taken the fan service out of it. Kirby, upon the second rewatch, just didn't do it for me. Like her whole entire, like, what's her actual reason for being there? Like if they would have given me, and this is what my hope for Scream 7 is I really hate the legacy aspect of it. Like I'm done with the legacy. I'm done with Gale. I'm done with Sydney. I don't fucking care if they bring back fucking Stu. I didn't need them to bring back fucking Kirby. Like I don't need legacy. Like you said, and I know bad comparison as well, right? Like you said, Fast and Furious. What's good about that is like these people. It's just standalone movies. You could watch Part 7 without really needing to watch all the first 6
right.
ones.
They're kind of all very self-contained.
They're self-contained movies. And with Scream, it's like they try to do so much fan service with 5, which is great. Yeah, 5 is good.
But here's my thing,
and you gave me a fan service movie.
I think 5 holds up a bit more than 6, but even 5, me and Victoria were like, like it was a lot of fun in theaters. But with 6, we were like, yeah, we enjoyed it. We were kind of quiet when we walked in. We're like, yeah, that was fun. Like Travis mentions the shotgun scene and stuff. Like, there's some fun stuff in there. But part of me in the rewatch was like, man, like this movie is kind of like really badly edited, and it's also not shot very well. And if I'm going to compare it to Radio Silence, they did Ready or Not, and I think Ready or Not is amazing. I think it's well shot, well acted, the comedy, writing, all fire. But part of me at Scream 6, when I was rewatching, I was just like, there's a lot of stuff here that maybe I was a little too easy on the first watch, right? Like maybe I wasn't thinking about it too hard.
No, you weren't, because I wasn't. And when you brought up that question to me, you're absolutely right. It's just like I don't think it has a high rewatchable factor. Like I could watch 1 through 4, and we've done it, right? I was
gonna say, yeah.
We've watched 1 through 4 multiple times, right? How many times have we seen fucking Drew Barrymore die, right? How many times have we seen, like the reveals?
How many times have we seen Jada Pinkett or Heather Graham die? Like,
right?
Those movies have a rewatchability, yeah.
I've told you, like, if you give me just the brand new cast of characters by themselves without the legacy factor, I feel like it's a high rewatchability factor to it.
I agree. I agree
because I like Jenna Ortega. I like the girl that plays her sister. I like the fucking,
and maybe that's why I was so positive.
The brother and sisters.
The core 4 that they call themselves, I really like them, and maybe that's why I was so positive. The core 4. I thought the the sequence in the apartment with the ladder, thought that was great. But yeah, on rewatch, I don't know. Like I came out, I was like, like I can't believe I gave that 4 stars on Letterboxd.
My issue is Kirby. That's my issue. I told you it's legacy and
I guess it's like Kirby and Gale, and it's like we're kind of shoehorning these things, but I also had really fun with these other moments, and I guess it's just, like, I don't know if the movie stands on its own or on rewatch.
I'm going to watch it a third time. And then
I feel shitty saying this.
I'm gonna update my fucking Letterboxd if I feel like I need to knock it down a peg here.
Well, rewatch it. Let me know what you think. Because I felt the same about No Way Home. When I was like, that was a lot of fun. And then I rewatched No Way Home at home. And I'm just like, I don't know if this movie stands on its own when you already know the surprises. Like, it kind of just feels like a cartoon. Or like a Saturday morning cartoon where it's just like, oh, Tobey Maguire's here. Andrew Garfield's here. Here's the music.
Why are you spoiling No Way Home for people who...
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody that still hasn't seen No Way Home. Connor, Jack Reacher. What do you think of that show? I've been tempted to watch it. So many people love it. My parents love that show. I know that guy. What's his name? He was in the Turtles movies. Alan Richardson? I don't know his name. But he's a big dude. But I've heard that show is really really good. That Jack Reacher show. I love continuity. I would love to see like a character like that come back, but I'm not sure what to expect from Scream 7. And the only kind of theories everybody has is like, oh, well, duh, bring back Stu. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that. Like,
stop bringing back legacy characters to Scream. Stop it. Stop bringing them back to Halloween. Just stop.
I like stop when these like Evil Dead. I've seen Evil Dead Rise 3 times. I think Evil Dead Rise gets better each and every time. I think it stands on its own.
I feel like that Jordan, that Jordan gift was just like, stop. Just stop yourself.
Stop it.
like Radio Silence, anybody's like thinking about doing these movies, like stop yourself. Like don't listen to the fans, because most of the times we're still gonna go watch a movie. You don't have to fucking give everything that a fan wants.
Never listen to fans when it comes to making movies.
It's like the same reason why why fans shouldn't be like the fucking GM of a fucking sports team. Like, we're like fantasy football experts every fucking year, and we're like, oh yeah, the Bears should fucking sign so and so and fuck Justin Fields and yada 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 and all this and that, right? Like, there's
you listen to the fans, like, oh fuck, fire him,
fire him.
Did we make the playoffs this year? Like,
fire him. Justin Fields sucks.
A movie that kind of like everybody knows me. I don't really get very aggravated with movies unless it's really something that like pisses me off. Morbius is probably the only example I ever use on the show. Me and Gabe went to go see Morbius. I think the best thing about Morbius was I think we went out to eat after. Or maybe we did. I can't remember. Or maybe prior
to be honest, the best part of watching Morbius with you is the look on your face when you got up like maybe like 60% through the film we were in, and you just got up, and the look of your face as you're walking like past me, and you're like this look of disgust, right? And then you come back like maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you had yourself a little fucking cigarettes break, right? And then you come back, you sit down, and you're just watching this movie, slumped in, your fucking face in your hand, and you're just like one eye open, and you're just like,
I couldn't take it.
And I'm just laughing internally. I was like, man, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it was bad.
I couldn't take it.
I was that bad.
I was having like a little mini panic attack without like the movie was just like making me aggravated. Like I just couldn't sit there, and it was like getting worse and worse. And then the fucking Doctor Who guy starts fucking dancing and shit. I'm like, what is happening in this movie? And then Michael Keaton shows up, and he's like, we need to start. Like, movie was crazy. Bernie, I've heard of that show. Jason from Sinister Cinema, I think really likes it. He's talked about it. It looks great. That's on MGM Plus, right? I have to check that out. Okay, so the other movie that kind of gets me mad, and this is where I talk about fan service pisses me off. And just give me a good movie. I don't give a shit. Like when I saw The Rise of Skywalker, right? Because Rise of Skywalker came out post Last Jedi. A lot of fans were mad about Last Jedi. They didn't like what happened with Luke. I'm not going to get into that. I mean, that's another thing. I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy. I go to see these movies, and I'm like, all right, that was fun. That's really as far as Star Wars goes for me, it's just like, what do I think of the prequels? I'm like, oh, no, they were a fun time. I don't really have that big of an opinion on them. I could sit down, watch them, have fun with it, look at the cool droids and shit and go, that's cool. But Rise of Skywalker made me so angry. And it made me angry from the very moment the movie opens. And it was just, I forget what the words were, but it's on the scroll when everybody's pumped and it's like, bah, 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 like the music's going and it says, "The Emperor lives." And I said, how the fuck is that possible? And they don't really give you much of an explanation. And the movie just meanders and it's going. And I felt myself just getting aggravated.
Right.
And it felt like they were apologizing the entire movie. Going, we know you were really upset about The Last Jedi. We know we made you really sad about this children's movie. Here's our apology. Here's a villain. You remember this villain? We know you like this villain. So here's that villain. We know you like this. Here's that. And like the entire movie felt like that. Made me really mad. And I didn't really have that big of an opinion. It was the dead speak. Yeah. I didn't have that much of an opinion on The Last Jedi. I thought it was like, I was like, all right, that was fun. I didn't really think about it that much. I enjoyed it. I like the stuff with Luke. I actually thought was pretty cool, making him kind of like gruff and World Weary. I liked all that stuff. But Rise of Skywalker it felt like everything that was wrong with fan service. And that's the thing that I get afraid of when I see movies, these big budget movies now, and that's all they do is like fan service. It's like, how can we please the fans? I don't know. That's another movie that, like, thinking of Morbius, that's another one where I sat there and it just felt like the worst time at the theater. I just felt bored out of my mind. Not so much with Mario, though. Mario does that, but I felt like it was charming. Mario does everything a Mario game should do, but I felt like it worked in the movie. Like, I had fun with it. Like, I didn't mind it.
Well, I think like Sonic, right? We're talking about Sonic, Mario. There's some movies that
but
fan
like
service
they're
does
very
work
like they're
with.
charming and childlike. So maybe that's why, like,
Childlike.
I give those movies a pass. Like, in their 90 minutes.
No,
too.
it's because here's the thing, right? Is I feel like it's for certain franchises, the fan base is very toxic. Star Wars fan base is a toxic franchise base, right? Some Halloween also has a very toxic,
very
fan base.
passionate. Yeah,
They're not passionate. They're just fucking toxic. All right,
they're toxic. Star Trek
color
fans, they're very Star Trek fans are the same way.
Star Trek. Anything that like fucking nerds have protected to their dear life with, like, they're like, oh, this is our stuff. Like, you know, I don't want it to become mainstream, and it becomes mainstream because of its popularity, because of whatever. And it's like you're trying to hold like this. You're trying to fucking gatekeep. Like, no,
Right.
It's like, you know, and that's where my issue comes in. Like, that's my issue. Like, don't gatekeep. Why? Are you
And
gatekeep?
that's the thing. It's, I think when they gatekeep and they demand these things, and if the studio listens, I think that's the worst thing. And like, if you fucking listen to these lunatics, like then you get really shitty movies. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. The Dead Speak. Yeah, that was that shit got me. Like, again, I'm more of a casual Star Wars fan. I really, like, as a kid growing up with the prequels, it was a big deal. But that movie kind of made me angry. Star Wars and Halloween are my two favorite franchises. I can definitely say that the fan bases are toxic. The Halloween one surprises me because it felt like it came out of nowhere, where it's just like, oh yeah, everybody's very passionate about this movie coming out, and then they became very toxic about it. Where it's just like, guys,
there have been, dude. Okay, so we were on, or we still
they have
are.
been
We just
since
don't-
2018.
No, before
Yes.
then, because listen, you and I are both, and we don't really, you know, share much anymore, but we're part of this thing on Facebook group called Killer Flicks on Facebook, right? And just the amount of Halloween stuff that they post on there, and if you disagree with just anything, so you used to troll them with how greatly you love Resurrections, right? And oh my god, how they would come after you and call you out and like all this other stuff just for saying that you like Resurrections. Or if you have any other opinion than, you know, Michael Myers is the greatest fucking horror villain of all time, they come after you and they fucking attack you and tell you that your mom's a hoe. Like, it's just
Did they tell you that?
They'll tell you that, yeah.
No, I'm saying, did they tell you that from personal experience?
Yeah,
It sounded very.
They said my mom's a hoe. Like, your mom a hoe.
Real quick, Travis. Yes, that's exact. I think you nailed it. That's exactly pretty much my issue with that movie. If I rewatched it, I feel like it would be whatever. It would be fine. But it's sitting there, like, I just felt like JJ kind of. I don't know. I expected maybe a little more from him.
Listen, why can't they just bring back Jar Jar Binks, man? I love Jar Jar.
There's nothing wrong with Jar Jar Binks.
Give me Jar Jar. Give me a whole Star Wars movies of fucking Planet of Jar Jar.
Y'all were too mean to that guy that played him.
listen. I watched it, right, and I love the prequels. I love the prequels, right? Like, I thought the 70s stuff was okay. I really didn't fucking care about the original trilogy. When I watch Star Wars, and I'm a casual fan, I watched them from the new stuff, you know, all the way to like the Disney stuff, right? So like in the middle, was it 4, 5, 6? I really like whatever. It's whatever. 1, 2, 3, I really like, and y'all did Jar Jar dirty. Y'all did Jar Jar dirty.
But you know what's funny? You mentioned that, and I feel like growing up around that time, it was big. Like, those prequels were huge. It felt like they were everywhere. Darth Maul specifically felt like he was everywhere. I felt like you couldn't turn around. Like everybody said, that's my favorite character. I love that character. And if you talk to the hardcore fans, they go, no, Darth Maul kind of sucks. In that movie, he's kind of terrible. But for most casuals, you're just like, I don't know, I thought he was cool. Like everybody that's not crazy about these things, you're like, kind of cool. I don't.
To me,
Darth
Maul seems pretty cool.
Yeah,
he has a cool fucking face. He has a cool
Yeah.
fucking lightsaber.
Qui-Gon Jinn, the pod racing, it seemed pretty cool to me. Like, granted, I haven't seen that movie. I haven't seen Phantom Menace in a very long time. I'm actually considering maybe watching that soon.
Right.
I haven't seen it in forever. But I feel like I have a little bit of nostalgia because that was my first Star Wars movie, The Phantom Menace. It was you get it on VHS, Blockbuster. It was everywhere, man. And then I remember seeing Attack of the Clones in theaters, being excited, seeing the Anakin poster, and it shows like it was for Revenge of the Sith. You see Anakin, it was like his destiny will like be complete, or I forgot what the tagline was.
Dude, listen, as far as like toxic franchises go, like fan base, like Connor said, he got death threats from Star Wars and Halloween fans for his opinion. Like, these motherfuckers bullied a kid. A fucking
they
kid.
bullied a kid to like literally hate what he was a part of.
What he was a part of. Like, he got bullied so hard he didn't even want to fucking act anymore. Like, that's how bad it got. Like, if you, that's like the ultimate toxicity of a fan base is Star Wars, and sort of makes me like not really like these movies because of that, and like because of what of that.
It also makes me just want to like the ones they hate even more.
Exactly.
Like, oh, yeah. That's like I love The Last Jedi. I love
it's still trolling me, and I just want to be like, oh, man,
that's the best one.
Phantom is the best one. Oh yeah, the Disney ones, yeah, they're better than fucking than the fucking some of these Lucas ones. Like, I really just want to go out. Like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking put that out into the universe tonight. I'm gonna go on Twitter tonight and be like, you know what? The Disney fucking Star Wars are the best Star Wars.
I think it's just that, like with any fandom, it's just like
let the world burn.
It comes off like these are the only movies I've seen, so I'm gonna put them on a pedestal. All right, it's just like what any fandom, like Snyder fans are like that. They were like, remember how toxic those guys got on the internet, and they were crazy for a little bit. Connor, you know, we'll come to your honor. We'll fight off the Star Wars fans and the Halloween fans. They're not tough. No way they're tough. In the expanded universe, Jar Jar's on Naboo was cleaning up poop in a zoo with a vehicle called a doo-doo scooper. I believe it. I believe it. That's another thing. They expand Star Wars has so many like choose your adventure kind of things, right? Like if you like Star Wars, there's something in it for everybody. I think the problem is so many of those fans wanted that franchise to grow up with them when it was always meant for children.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, come on, like look at the fucking Ewoks, man.
Listen, there are some franchises you can know are for children. There's some franchises that are going to be for adults, and some for nostalgic purposes. And we always talk about this every show, and I'm gonna bring it up again. Like Transformers, right? Transformers is one of those movies that are made for nostalgic purposes. Yes, they want to get in the new kids and they want to sell the new line of toys, but at the same time, they're doing it for nostalgic purposes. The only reason why they're doing fucking this new one is to bring in more toys from, you know, the Maximals and the Predacons or whatever. It is what it is.
But it's like how we say it's for kids. Like we brought up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, sure. Like I like I read the comic books as a kid, collected the toys, loved the 2003 series, the movies. But if you ask me today what I think about, like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'm going to see the new movie because I like them. But, like, to me, the opinion of a child on that probably matters a bit more than what the fuck I think of it. You know, like, to me, what a kid thinks of Spider-Man probably matters a bit more than what I think of Spider-Man. You know, like, I'm in my mid-20s. It doesn't really matter what I think of this.
Listen, my nephew has discovered fucking Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man. And even though he watches a Spider-Man cartoon, like I'll take him to see Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah.
I and it's for the new generation. Like my Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s is still there. I could always revisit that. I want to see it. And that's what I feel like people don't understand that. Like the people that saw like the new like the Power Rangers from like 2018 don't understand. You know what? This Power Rangers wasn't really for you. You want a Power Rangers for you? You can still go back to watch the show from the 90s. You still have the movies from the 90s. Like that.
That's true.
That Power Rangers wasn't for you. You know, sometimes it's not meant for you. Like you could go back and visit what you saw when you were a kid. It's for the new generation. It's for the new people.
It's for children.
Right.
You know, for kids. Can I just say, please love whatever movies you want to love. I will never judge your love of a movie. Question it maybe, but never truly judge. In my mind, you love movies like me. Even if you love movies like me, even if I don't love it. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't even think. I think that's a great point, Connor. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't argue with people about movies. To me, like, I get no joy out of that. I get joy out of watching movies. I love watching movies. I love watching movies from the 30s and 40s. From the 60s. I like watching movies that come out today, and I like watching things that I haven't seen before. And that's my main thing. Is like I love storytelling.
We've always said that we go watch movies and we come out of them not to like disparage them, not to like say, "Oh, I fucking hated this movie." We get out of the movie and we legit look for something good to say about the movie.
Right.
Like, we
want to be able to tell people, hey, you should like go see this. Like this is really, really cool.
You know, besides the only movie Tony's ever come out and said, don't watch this is Morbius, which I get. I get.
But I feel like that is essentially what I hate about movies. Like in certain movies that I hate about. It's like it's made for a very specific thing. It's made for you to do that at the end, which is what my fucking dumb audience did. Because they saw something that reminded them of another thing, and they go, "Oh, I know what that is." It feels like the filmmakers who made that movie think you're stupid. They made this movie, so in that moment you clap, and then you forget that the rest of the movie was absolute garbage. Sorry, that movie actually pretty bad. Actually upset me. For the most part,
But I mean, listen, I don't care. Like, I'm the type of person, right? I don't care what type of music you listen to, what type of movies you like, what type of TV shows you're like. You treat me or we treat each other with respect about your opinion about anything, and I'll treat you with respect about it, whatever, right? I'll treat you with respect as well. Like, I don't care. It's all art. It's all subjective.
Right.
Like, there's really no need to get your fucking panties up in a bunch on any of these franchises, on any of these movies, on any of this art. Like, it's all subjective. You want to listen to fucking country? It's not my jam. I'm not getting down with a fucking on a fucking country line. I ain't line dancing. But
go ahead.
Go ahead.
That's the thing. It's like
I'll watch you line dance.
That's what's great about art. That's what's great about books and movies and music. There's something.
If you want to, if you just don't judge me when I'm, going up and got the elbows up side to side, lean like a cholo going on.
That song's gonna come back in a big.
I hope that song comes back.
Song was.
But I'm just saying, like, listen, you respect me, I'm gonna respect you, right? It's not life and death. It's just movies.
Especially like these are movies that let's call it what it is. These are movies that kind of mean nothing, right? Like these are movies that are like they give us a little bit of joy for a moment, but there's nothing there. As much as I'm being realistic. I love big franchise movies. But this isn't like, The Wizard of Oz or The Godfather or something. It's not something that's going to be like, oh, this stands the test of time. Like people can take from this and they can learn from it, and different filmmakers can put themselves in this and all those things. And these are things that we loved as children that we just hope, are going to be good. We have nostalgia ties to it. And I think people put too much stock into that.
They do. We brought up Scarface, right? It's Scarface, the original movie from the 30s, was about an Italian mob family, right?
Yeah,
and then we have Scarface in the 80s about a Cuban guy, right? And then from what I've heard, and you've told me, right, if they're talking about making another Scarface, and now we're gonna do a Mexican cartel, right? It's the evolution of the society that we're living in, right? In the 1930s, there was an influx of Italian immigrants to New York City, right? And the 70s and 80s, there was a fucking huge influx of Cubans to Miami, hence Scarface of that time.
Right.
And right now, us Mexicans, you know what? We're taking over the world, right? So
That
now we're
movie,
gonna
by
do
the
the
way,
fucking
has
cartels.
been in development for like
No,
10 years.
I understand, but if it ever does happen, that's a route, right? What I'm saying is like people, for example, this movie's gonna come out at the end of the month. The Little Mermaid. It's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, right? Am I gonna go watch it? Maybe. I can't
I think,
stay
you know what?
100%.
I think I will. I think I'll go.
Right. I think I will. Maybe not Thursday on opening weekend. Maybe check it out Saturday, Sunday, whatever. You want to make a problem out of the Little Mermaid because she's black or whatever. Okay, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to get into that fight with you, right? But again, you could watch the cartoon. You could go back and fucking go get the fucking
you
Little
could just go
Mermaid
watch the
cartoon
cartoon.
and watch the cartoon. You don't have to watch this.
Again, it
But
doesn't matter what
don't
we
let
think
the
of the.
enjoyment for other people.
At the end of the day, like we may like the movie, we may not like the movie, but I think it's going to be. It matters more what children think of that movie.
Children, yeah, it's a children's movie, right?
It's for children.
It's for children, right? If you
And I'm
have
not
an
saying that
issue-
children's entertainment can't be good. Of course it can be. Like Disney's made a ton of great movies, or Studio Ghibli, like all these, like. But at the end of the day, it matters what children think of these things. Like that's
Right.
the audience.
That's the audience. It's the Little Mermaid. That's the audience. It's kids. They're gonna take kids. Yes, the parents are gonna go there, and yeah, the parents are gonna do like maybe some nostalgia factor for it. But you know what? We live in a society at this point in time that we're so fucking diverse at this point. Like, I don't care if she is white, black, Mexican, yellow, fucking purple, pink, whatever. Like, they could have fucking changed Ursula from being this purple octopus person to like, I don't know, fucking lime green. And would people would have cared if Ursula was lime green instead of purple?
Right.
I mean,
No, sure.
right?
I think
So why
it's
do
true.
they fucking care that a Caribbean mermaid is now a couple shades darker and a kid's
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to see the 2-hour movie.
You don't
either.
have to see the 2-hour movie. Go watch the fucking cartoon and
But-
fantasize about the fucking cartoon Ariel.
That's true. You could. She doesn't exist.
I don't know.
We've gone
I went
on
off
so
on the
long.
fucking rails.
No,
My bad,
you're
guys.
fine. No,
I ran
you're-
off the rails.
No, I think you bring up a good point. At the end of the day, these
I'm
movies
just
don't
saying-
matter. All right.
They don't matter,
Listen,
right?
all right. Stop being a nerd. Stop watching these.
Listen,
things,
I'm gonna
all right?
die, and like I've done the math, right? I'm gonna die in about 30 years, and when I die, whatever I fucking liked, it's gonna fucking matter at the end of my lifetime.
Fuck, that's really dark.
It truly is. Listen, I'm 39, right? I'm gonna be 40 this year. I'm a fucking obese man that doesn't. I'm obese, and so like what? I got maybe a good 30 years left. So by the time I die, like none of this shit would have mattered. None of the movies that I watched, none of the movies that I fucking love would have fucking mattered, right? So like none of this matters. We just
I
here
don't
to
know
have a
what to say
fucking fun
anymore.
time.
I don't know what to say.
It went
It's getting
fucking
really
dark.
dark now.
It really got dark. My
Anyway.
bad. I didn't mean to take it dark, but I'm just saying,
But-
whatever.
I think we're making some kind of point. Maybe we'll figure out what that point was some other day.
It's some,
But anyway,
we've been going at it for about
I
an hour.
know.
and a half.
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up here.
Wrap it up.
This was about fear.
This was about fear. This
But
was about
it-
Mark Wahlberg. This was about fucking Reese Witherspoon.
Yes, good movie.
Great movie.
Bad movie, but good movie. A fun movie. Go
Was
see
it- Was it as bad as Vanilla Ice's movie?
No, not that bad. That movie is excruciatingly bad. Cool as Ice is like legit one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's not even fun. Like it feels like a chore watching that movie. Fear is a really fun movie. I think Fear has a lot of rewatchability, and it's Mark Wahlberg's performance mainly.
I think you're right.
But it was great. This was a fun time. It was fun seeing everybody in here. Connor, love seeing you in here.
And
Travis,
thank you, Connor. You really homered in my point. Yes, it was that we're here for a good time, not a long time. So
exactly.
just be fun, be kind, and just like what you like.
Bernie, always good seeing you. We had Brett in here. It was a
Right.
great episode.
Thank
guys.
you,
It was a lot of
everybody
fun.
who joined us, and we'll be back here next weekend. I don't know, Friday or Sunday, depends on Tony's schedule.
We're gonna get
too.
organized. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get organized. We're gonna get all this working. We're gonna get this working, and we do like we keep saying every week. We're gonna get a guest at some point. No, we have somebody really cool that we're getting up. We're not gonna say who yet because we're still trying to lock up times with this person. But it's gonna be a pretty big episode. I think a lot of people are gonna be in the chat for that one. More so than we usually get. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to bring that person on. It will be more horror centric because that's what their area of expertise is. But it's gonna be really good. It's gonna
Fuck
be a lot
it.
of
We're
fun.
gonna have John Carpenter. I just let the cat out of the bag.
But-
John Carpenter is coming on our show.
Yeah, I guess we're having no. We do not. We are not having John Carpenter on the show, but we are having somebody really cool on. But we'll update you on when that date is going to be. Maybe we'll bring others back, like the Not That Bad guys. We love having them on. But anyway, you all have a great night. Thank
Have a
you
good
for
night. Have a
joining
good
us.
weekend. Have a great week. Enjoy it. Summer's finally come here to Chicago, so you guys be safe out there.
Have a great night, guys, and make sure to hit that like button. Hit that like button. I mean, it costs nothing. We're not asking for much. Just hit that button. Tell a friend. Let's get to 600 subscribers. I feel like we don't even ask people to subscribe anymore, or at least like we do, but it's like an afterthought. Like we'll attempt.
Also,
Give us a goal.
Real quick. Listen, somebody on May 10th go on the sneakers app and like try to get the Harito Dunks for me. And if you guys get them, right, message me real quick. I'll give you my credit card information and buy them for me. Like I'm trying to get these Harito Dunks, right? Size 13 Harito Nike Dunks. So just remember, May 10th, go on the sneakers app. I'll give you my credit card information if you're able to, if you guys win the raffle. I'm trying to get these fucking shoes, man. I want the Harito Dunks. Maybe a friend here could get me one.
Be a friend. Get him the
Be
dunks.
a friend. Give me the dunks.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you soon.